So this is my card deck. This is what I use to travel with. I have my little case here. I think I show it to you in the video too. Yeah. It fits in this. A lot of people have asked me why I use the bag versus other items that you can use to store the index cards, and it's just because it's always worked. I also have a card box with more than my 12-week year, and actually I only have until July on this, so it'll be interesting to see, so you can see it, but the rest of it is in that card box that's in my homeschool cabinet. My homeschool cabinet is more of like an art cabinet now. So going through, you have your dividers. These are on like a thicker card stock right now for me, which has also expanded my card deck, which makes why I only have up until the end of my 12-week years in there, because I just wanted to fit in to this bag. But before I was using printer paper for the divider, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. And then you can see I have May in here, and May is when I start my next 12-week year. So you had that first bulk of cards. Those were my 12-week year that I'm just finishing up. And then I have about a month before I start my next one. My 12-week year is really centered around goals and accomplishing like growth in my personal life and in my business life and with the kids or family and all of those different fun areas. And that was something that I took over when I moved everything over from my planner into my card deck. One of my biggest takeaways from that was that I use the planner to set goals for myself, to create an action plan or strategy, and then to follow through with it. The right card is to remind me that I am supposed to be getting writing done. I am working on a novel, and I have been for 2 years. And it's just a reminder, do this. And I skip it a lot, but not coming up. I'm doing that for my next 12-week year. And so I'm really focusing on just growing in that area. Then I have some YouTube cards to remind me to make sure that I'm promoting the channel and that I'm serving the audience that I have there. I serve on Instagram, on YouTube, making sure that I do some card stuff. That's a menu card that I shuffle every day, so that just reminds me these are the things that you had intended that you purchased from the grocery store to actually make. It's a nice reminder. And then I have my video cards of what I'm working through. This is my review every card day, so that is the thing that I needed to record. So I made sure that I have that in there. This is the next video that I'm also working on. I'm working on 2. This one is already done as far as the pre-production goes. And then I have my daily cards. Now, a lot of these I've used for years. And so I know like they're kind of habitual now, where I wake up in the morning and I vacuum, but it's still really nice to have that card there because it feels good when you shuffle it. Afternoon dishes, I have afternoon dishes specifically as a card because that's always been a sticky point with me as far as getting the dishes done prior to dinner. I don't know if you're like me. And then I have some end of the night daily cards too that I don't necessarily like take out and remind myself, but I know in the back of my head that that's there and I need to do it. Cleaning the vacuum is a monthly task that I really dread having to do, but it's so rewarding because then the vacuum always performs better and it feels just nicer. And then I have these tasks, which are on Tuesdays. So these are my clean the bathroom tasks. And they've changed here and there over the years, depending on what it is that our schedule is when it comes to what we do each day. Because we're on the boat and I have much more ownership over my time, I am really specific about where the cards go and when. This is actually a verse that's from a sugar detox or fasting book that is also a devotional, and I really love it so far. I'm on day 3 and I've had 2 days without sugar, which may sound like nothing to you, but for me, it's a really big deal. This is the fun card. It's in the fun card deck, and it's just you pick a spiritual practice. And I had known that sugar, getting out of it, is a really important thing for me to do because of my 12-week year. I made a point of starting that on the 1st. It would have been great to do with Lent, but it was just like I had to figure all these things out, you know. So then my vision board card is a thicker cardstock too, and that's specifically for my 12-week year. It's going to change as I go, and it's just a reminder, like a setting point for me in the day. We're trying to get healthy here, Jen. Pay attention. And then I have a couple affirmation cards that I use an iPad to write out, and then I pull in images just to trick my brain and mark it to myself and say, hey, Jen, this is where you're at. Morning pages are something that I try to do daily. I haven't really been doing daily right now because I've been walking so much and just like in my head so much that I sit down to write things out. I'm like, bleh. So then here's an example of just writing out a quick card. I've been using this one monthly, and I could go ahead and go on Canva and edit and create that, but it's been fine. And then as you see, I put Post-it notes over my personal information prior to doing this, just because I wanted you to see how I use these appointment cards. Those were triggers for me today to call and adjust the appointments that are on there. But other times you'll see their actual, like, this is when you're going to go into the appointment. Networking and emailing. Sometimes I just need a physical reminder to get back to people when it comes to email. My email inbox is such a stinking mess right now. Writing your weekly reports. This sometimes is more like official for me, and sometimes much less. It's more like I just say to my husband, hey, we've got these appointments coming up, or whatever it is. It's just a time where I'm reminded, hey, let's make sure that we're all on the same page. Cleaning the purse, wallet, and bags. This is a really nice reminder. And sometimes it's bigger where I'm wiping down bags, and other days it's just making sure I have the receipts out of there. The budget date is, again, just a touch point with my husband. Sometimes I go over like my physical spreadsheet with him, and other times I'm just like, this is the bills that are coming up, that type of thing. This is a big one because I've wanted a mentor for so long, and I've watched a couple videos that were saying you need to have specific questions, go after experts that have the answers. And I emailed someone a couple years ago who was, I thought, totally out of my reach as far as that he would reply back to me. Not only did he reply back to me immediately, but he also put me in touch with someone that was even bigger, that I was like, there's no way he's going to reply. And I got my answer. So I think that's something really helpful. Hopefully it'll help you if you have specific questions. If you wanted a mentor, then that might be the approach that you take. Okay. Breathe. I know a lot of you don't like it when I talk fast, but I really want to just get through this video and show you each of the cards in my card deck. Going back into YouTube, I have these cards that are weekly that are more around making sure that I have content that is approachable. So I go over my analytics, see what it is that you guys are searching for, what other channels. I mean, do you know that YouTube now shows me what channels you guys watch? So I have so much fun looking through that, and then I can base my content around that, also comments and that kind of thing. Oil change is, I wasn't getting my oil changed today, but I do need to make an appointment for that, and that's kind of batched with my vacation items. Disney bounding is a fun card. Again, that's part of the Artist Way kind of fun cards that I use, and I was thinking about Disney bounding as Cinderella or the Fairy Godmother or Tinkerbell. So I'm going to a used clothing or secondhand store this afternoon, and I'm going to see if there's anything affordable that I can find that kind of resembles those characters. I'm supposed to go paddleboarding today. I was going to go this morning, but it was a little windy and it was cold and I just chickened out, so maybe later. I'm not going to totally abandon that. I have this card. You probably see me shuffle it quite often. Call Mitch. It's to delegate to my husband to remind him. Cleaning out the fridge and pantry is something that I do every week now. Meditating, I do this in the sauna. As long as there's nobody in the sauna with me, it feels fantastic, and it's just a nice time to quiet my mind. Cleaning out small appliances, so that's like the Instant Pot, I do every week now. I wipe it down, as well as now I have a Keurig. It's like such luxury. Okay, then I have more YouTube content. So this is on Thursday. I'm going to pull it up and start focusing on those items. Then just so you know, with these dividers, these are all items that are memories that I'm able to pull up and remind the kids, hey, this is what we did at that time, which is kind of fun. I have nothing scheduled because we're going to be on vacation and I don't want to have to do anything on the boat. When we come back, dusting, freshening up the beds, all that fun stuff I have in there. That's scheduled usually on Friday, so it was just skipped to that Friday. And then facials, reading a book. I mean, do I need a reminder to do those things? Yeah, some Fridays I do. I skip it often because there's other pressing things that happen. Clean and sweep deck and patio. I no longer have a deck and patio, but I have memories of going around and doing that, whereas I'd always delegated it to my husband. At some point I took it on. Now it's a trigger for me to just walk around the deck and just notice what's going on the boat. Baking is usually French bread or cookies when I do it. I do often skip that right now. Manicure and pedicure is a really nice reminder. I like taking Sundays to do nothing, but just kind of prepare for the week as far as settling down and resting. Washing the floors is really nice right now on the boat because I do it by hand. I get down on my knees and I just wipe the baseboards and everything. It's kind of a trigger for all those things. Whereas in the past I had a baseboards card and things like that, but now it's been minimalized so that it triggers the next habit. Do you hear that? That's the fairy coming in. The sound comes in through the hole. It makes you think what the whales hear. So the video cards, more of that fun stuff. And these are things that I've already kind of planned out and work through at the beginning of the month to look at what content is coming up. And then also just batching it and placing it in front of the divider. So all these cards that I'm doing are being taken care of. So for example, if I wanted to do them on the 15th, they're going to sit on top of the 15th rather than behind. That way you open it up and you just see what task you're working on. This is a card that I skipped until later in the month so that we could really have a plan for our water tanks, because it's bigger than just testing the water outside, but there's some boat stuff involved with it too. Oh my goodness, it's so loud. And then more appointment cards and a meal plan card. So this is blank. On that day, I'll fill it out. And then once the other meal plan card is done, it gets shuffled over to that point. The walking tour, is that what it just was? That's something I've been working on the last couple weeks. And so I shuffled it until after vacation to readdress, because I thought that was a really fun idea for cruisers. Then I have some learning cards. I have a few that are batched together. I already did these with my 12-week year for YouTube, but so much has changed as far as how comfortable I am around what it is that I'm creating, and so I feel like my responses will be different. I have some monthly. Those are cards for monthly that just trigger me to look at upcoming dates and make sure that I'm prepared for the month ahead in May. And a lot of that is just preparing to be able to communicate it with the family later at a family meeting. My family meeting for April. So my meeting for April was we sat down at dinner, and at dinner we discussed some of the upcoming dates that are happening. We didn't do anything else. I just wanted to make sure, again, that we're all on the same page. Cleaning the oven is something I do monthly, and again, I have a Susie Baker, what are those called? The play ovens. It's like that size. And so it's pretty quick as far as cleaning it goes. But it's nice because I've noticed over time that when we first came in, the boat was just like drenched in oils. And over time, as long as I'm consistent with it, it's much easier to clean. The farmer's market is coming up. Is it coming up in your area? Ours will hopefully have some fruits and vegetables by that time. Also, for the stargazing one, I just wanted to take advantage of that. Our library, you're able to check out telescopes. I don't know if you can in yours. That's the family council meeting that I have in there, and hopefully we'll do a bigger one going into May because summer's coming up and our haul out date, which means that our boat gets up out of, it's like tons, it's a heavy boat and it's going to be pulled up out of the water. That's my YouTube week 4. And it goes over at the very end, not week 4, month 4, so April. And I'll go over at the end of the month how well I did and compare it to the YT3, which stands for March, and see if I made any improvements and how I did as far as what it was that I planned. And then this is my 12-week year. That's all around fitness, and I have a lot of thoughts on this, and my thoughts have been fluctuating. That's why I haven't wanted to share too much, because I'm still trying to come up with what was my takeaways and what was effective, what would I do differently. But right now I'm just walking you through each one. So it changes as I go through the 12-week year, because I had set up, you can see on my plan card at the very end, that the first portion was all about working on nutrition, the second one was on building strength, and the third one was on walking. And I don't know if I would do it differently, because I feel really good right now. So there's a habit tracker here, and there's ones for each area that I was trying to improve. And I didn't like it at the time because it felt really bad. Like I wasn't crossing everything off, and it made me feel like a failure, which is hard moving forward to just do better at. But now that I'm able to look back, I'm able to see, oh, here's proof that if you're not consistent, you don't get the results that you want. And so that's been a good reminder for me as I went to the gym for my 3rd time this morning. I think you got to stay consistent, and it feels good once you get there. You might not feel motivated to leave the boat or the house in the morning, but it changes as you're there at the gym. And then I did some journaling. I don't know if any of this is personal information or not, but each day I would do some journaling here and there, and it was just nice to be able to note at the time based off of what I ate or what I was doing, how I was feeling. It's something that we did in The Artist's Way. It's just by Julia Cameron. It's where I get morning pages from. It's where the artist date. She created the whole concept, and if you haven't done it yet and you feel stuck, it's great. She goes through exercises that are helpful. This is the fun card deck that has items for fun ahead review and fun things, and you're checking in on, did you walk? Did you write your morning pages? And as you can see, my morning pages start to fall off as I get more and more irritated from listening to myself every day. And then I've listened to so many podcasts too. I listen to Audible. I'm just done. And then this is my plan card. So this captures what it is that I was intending to do. And then you create the action cards or the task cards based off of that initial brainstorm. This is heading into May. So all of these cards aren't organized yet for May because we're still in those date dividers here in April. So right now you can see the one divider is in May, and it'll eventually get to May 1st. And that'll symbolize May 1st. The trash and recycling cards were used to be for me to take the trash and recycling out to the curb, but I use it now when we're on anchor or out as a reminder, hey, we need to make sure we're getting to a port to remove garbage and recycling from the boat. And then I have some fun cards that I've already planned ahead at the beginning of this year. You can see that video, I'll link below, where you can see that I took fun cards that I wanted to make sure that we did, and then I scheduled them throughout the months depending on when we would most likely be able to do it. Like attending a high tea in Victoria. How fun would that be? Victoria in Vancouver, on Vancouver Island. Creating a Leslie note binder. My kids, our whole family really likes parks and recreation, but I thought how fun would that be for the kids to create something like that. We have Haul Out, like I said, coming up, and it'd be really neat to create a shore leave binder that talks all about our boat and gets us excited for it. Creating a banner maybe, celebrating summer coming up. I don't know. And then I have, here you can see I have a blue card that is just written out with the boat category, and I'm focusing on, in April, on creating more of those, but we have our haul out coming up, and that was a bunch of research that I did around different options for us, none of which were what it is that's more on the back. Then I have some of the 12-week year that's coming up, the new one. The 31 divider is there because there's only 30 days in April, so it gets switched over to May. Then I have June. You can see I already have my 12-week year dates highlighted and ready to go. This is something I planned at the beginning of the year. It's kind of nice because it gives me no out. I have to do it. It's in the cards. Of course, I could just print out a new card and make a change, but at least it gives me a way where I'm not thinking about when should I do it. I'm not making more decisions. The decision was already made. I have more fun cards then for July that are lined up. You can see that behind the fun cards are more of the 12-week year weeks that will get organized as July and June comes up. Doing a dessert crawl, I just love that idea. We did kind of a mini one last year with the kids with ice cream, and this year it'll be fun to do something bigger. We just detailed our car. My husband did it for us, so we'll probably just DIY it again at that time. Going fishing, I took notes already at the beginning of the year, so I don't have to worry too much about it as far as making sure that which license, which area we're in, all that fun stuff, so that when it gets to that time, I don't have to think too much about it. And it's just a reminder to get a license and get everything ready. And then haircuts, those are to make the appointments. Those are actually 4 appointments. So the appointment cards, and you can write a note for yourself if you can't remember, but I usually I know to look for the appointment. And then I have some blank cards. The weekly check-in, again, is with the fun card deck, and that's what I was using for the last 6 weeks or so, 5 weeks of my 12-week year. Just to note the 20,000 steps. I was trying to do it more on go out and have fun and say yes rather than just go for a walk. And it was pretty effective to make sure that if the kids were going to go play baseball, I went with them rather than saying I have things to get done. You guys go ahead. I was doing things too. So then I have my food divider. I have a lot of recipes on here, and these come with a Just Get Started card deck where it's broken out. And I have these forms in a really specific way because the whole idea is that I just glance at it and I don't have to read the instructions, because one of the things I got really frustrated with was the cook time or the temperature that I needed to have the oven at, especially when you're preheating it. I didn't like to search for it, so I know right up at the top this is what the temperature needs to be at, and I could just set it and then remind myself how to make it. French bread, I've made this recipe for years, and I still don't remember how much. Once you have certain recipes that all are similar, I get things mixed up, so it's just nice to be able to glance at it and not have to find it on my phone. And nowadays, food blogs, the ads just bombard you, and you'll be looking at something and then an ad will pop up and it'll move the recipe away and you're like, ah. So anyway, some of these cards are very well loved, like the cookies one. Again, I still can't remember how much baking powder versus baking soda I need to use, but whatever. And it's nice too to be able to pass the card off if one of my sons wants to make something, especially pizza crust. They've used that a couple times. I just give them the card and then they can make things, and if they have the questions they can ask me. There's some cards like fire cider I should get rid of, because I made fire cider once and it was the worst thing I've ever had in my entire life. I know it's supposed to make it so that you don't get a cold or you feel better, but bleh. That was a purple card from the glass cleaner, so that indicates more of a DIY recipe that's like less edible, more of like glass cleaner, fabric sprayer. I have things like that just because, again, I couldn't remember which one. Some are hydrogen peroxide, some are alcohol, rubbing alcohol, so it's just a nice little reminder. Aquafaba mayo is my favorite from Goop. And that's one that it's hard to find now because it was like on Rachel Ray's blog. So it's nice that I have it in a card that will remind me what it is. I love that peanut stew one. Pickled onions is really good. I know how to make that now. That one's pretty easy. The low carb pizza I don't make anymore. I'm not eating almonds. That was a big aha from the 12-week year, was almonds and potatoes. Ugh. I was so upset. I love potatoes so much. I love almonds too, and life is better without them though now. Yeah, so these are recipes. Salmon with lemon cream, that's a really good one. I know you guys are like, this is really boring, Jen. But I said I was going to show you every card in the card deck. You write your recipe on the left, the instructions on the right, or the ingredients on the left, instructions on the right. And then I have this learn divider. So these are some of the notes from my 12-week year on just cleaning up my nutrition and checking different things. This is something that I've been working on for like a decade, trying to feel better as far as digestion goes. Took a lot of notes, and these are more like motivational things there with the movies and memoirs. And this was notes that I took last year on shorts, on like best practices, because I don't get it. And then also there's the day one devotional. I've been writing them out just to kind of get my mind focused on that rather than just reading it. Or she has this awesome PDF. Somebody that I follow on Instagram and YouTube, I think I said this in the last video, shared that her cards with it, and I thought, oh, this is so cool, because she already has the index cards all done. You could print them out and cut them out and put them on the different days, which is what she had done. But I just wanted to write them out because, again, I think writing things out sometimes just helps you digest the information. Okay, so see, I was filing the cards due on the 3rd, which is today, which is me recording the review. And I'm just kind of going over the cards for today, what it was that I already did, what I still need to do. When I'm done with that, I was supposed to go home and do afternoon dishes right away, and then we had other things to do. I eventually got it done, but yeah. Anyway, I hope that was helpful going through each of the cards in my card deck. Like I said, I have the rest of the year that is in there, which includes things like Christmas, storm preparation, things for the fall season, and you can see those in other videos. I have a video that I'll link below that is the entire 2024 Plan With Me video, which is kind of fun. There's just so much you can do with these index cards, and it's really fun to be creative, but at the same time, I think every day is a practice in simplifying and making sure that things are streamlined and easy for you. And so it doesn't become a chore, but it's fun to go through your cards.